So you've been to the launch of Bohemian Rhapsody in Carnaby Street, right?
Yeah, there's been all sorts of stuff going on around London. I mean, it's getting on a bit now. Like, I know the film's just been released around the rest of the world, but yeah, I've been wearing this thing specifically.
Yeah. What's that to get in, is it?
Yeah, they had this, it was the thing that I went to was essentially like a grand opening for this Queen stall on Carnaby Street, but they decorated all of Carnaby Street in Soho in London.
What, just for the film, was it, or was it?
Yeah, I mean the film. I mean, it's you know, Queen trying to sell more stuff like merchandise or whatever. But it was cool. You know, they had the band there. They had the stars of the film there, like all along Carnaby Street. I've
Cool,
got, like,
fireworks and stuff in there.
Yeah, fireworks went off, and they got this like neon lyrics of Bohemian Rhapsody, and Brian May was there. Well, the whole band was there, and yeah.
Did you see Brian May?
Yeah, I was being unashamedly stalkerish, and yeah, but it was fun. You know, it was a nice thing. So yeah, that was ahead of the film and ahead of the premiere. But yeah, then we went and watched it, right? Yeah,
it's a great film. Enjoyed it. I mean, like we've discussed before, I mean, I don't think it was the best film on a band. I mean, when we talk about The Doors and that film with Val Kilmer in it, that, I mean, that was brilliant. So I mean, I always compare things to that. But I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10, something like that. It was pretty good. The guy who played Freddie Mercury did an absolutely brilliant job. He just didn't quite look like him in the eyes, which just kept on seeing that and thinking, you know, he's not quite, hasn't quite got the look. And the his mouthful of teeth that he was holding in, it kind of it looked like it looked unnatural. He looked like he was holding in a gum shield or something.
It felt a bit accentuated, I think. I don't remember Freddie looking that prominent.
No, it's because his lip was all pushed. I mean, Freddie had teeth coming out, but I don't think this bit was coming out so much around his face. But you know, the guy did a brilliant job. He had his motions, didn't he?
Yeah, I think what you said when we came out of there was like he couldn't have done a better job than he did.
No,
it was like he nailed the moves and all of the stage
he just may have not been the absolute perfect person in the looks department.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to have seen the Sacha Baron Cohen.
He actually naturally looks more like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, definitely. I read an interview with Brian May, and he said that would have been a disaster to use him.
Well, you can see that, because I mean, what Brian May is this scientist guy, isn't he? And you've got Sacha Baron, what's his name? Sacha
Baron Cohen.
Baron Cohen.
I hope so.
Who's you know, the most full-on kind of comedian we've got.
Yeah.
And they don't. I mean, you can see that he would want to take Freddie to a whole new place, and possibly a place where could be embarrassing for people. I don't know. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it was very. The movie was very like too safe and too sanitized. I read a couple of reviews actually on Rotten Tomatoes that I kind of agreed with. Somebody from Little White Lies said toothless mass market pop revisionism, which is nowhere near as cool or as compelling as its subject. Which I think, you know, that was like a good analogy of it. It's polished and authentic, sanitized, and plays like a 130-minute trailer.
It was definitely sanitized. I mean, you know, he didn't have Freddie Mercury's exploits into the gay world, which you expect to see. Yeah. Because, you know, he was a gay man, and he was very openly gay, and he had a lot of partying. You know, he did a lot of partying, so you'd expect to see some of that aspect.
Yeah, he was like, I read his biographies, and he was out like nailing half of Soho like every night. So yeah,
yeah. And in Berlin as well. That's where he
what was it?
Was it Berlin? He moved to Germany.
Munich.
Sorry. Yeah. He moved to Munich, and there's a big gay scene over there, wasn't there? And he was in like also involved in a sort of a little freeway thing over there with a lady and a gentleman. Was he?
Yeah, for some years. Yeah.
Oh right, relationship. I thought you meant just the one night stand. I thought it was quite specific.
No, I'm sure. I think he had plenty of freeways and one night stands.
Okay, so he had a long-term relationship with.
Yeah, right. He sort of. I mean, I think I can't comment on his actual sexuality. I mean, he was gay for sure, but yeah, there were women in his life as well. And of course he had the long relationship with his first girlfriend, I guess.
Yeah.
Who lives in his house now?
Yeah, she's left a fortune too.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, I thought it was a bit too safe, and there was a bit too much, like, it felt a bit enclosed. I like Bryan Singer as a director with some things. I was hoping, because he'd done X-Men, Superman, and Superman Returns, I should say, which I kind of liked somewhat, even though a lot of people didn't. But what I liked about it was like a homage to Christopher Reeve, or the X-Men are very specific to the comics. So I was hoping that he would bring some...
I think he's tried to. I don't think it's definitely a Queen story. It's just a safe Queen story.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean,
they're obviously trying to appeal to a wider audience.
Yeah,
so.
and I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Freddie Mercury probably might have liked this version.
I'm sure they loved it.
Yeah, this version just as much as the darker side of taking drugs and all those things that Brian May didn't want to have in there.
Yeah.
You know, so
one thing I thought was a nice touch is that I mean, although they you know, moved the storyline around somewhat, was that they included his boyfriend at the end, who I thought struggled with sort of getting recognition. I read his book as well, and it seemed like he's dead now, but he really wanted to prove to everybody that, you know, they really were a couple, and that he didn't seem to get that recognition, you know, at least in public. So the film definitely did that. They were like, you know, this was the guy he was with at the end of his life.
yeah, interesting. You
nice
said
touch.
that when Freddie Mercury died, you told me this the other day, that that chap was living in his house with his ex-wife. Is that right? All
well,
living together?
she lived. She lived. Freddie sort of extended the estate.
Yeah.
And so she lived there, and then, you know, he left her the whole thing, and then she basically kicked everybody out.
Yeah, so he was staying there up until his death.
Yeah.
And then Freddie said, "I want you to live in my house after I've died, and you know you can stay here as long as you want."
Yeah, exactly.
And once he did die, his original wife kicked him out.
Common law wife. I mean, she's and I think the film sort of painted her as a very in a nicer picture than maybe I don't know her. So
well, I mean, it's definitely Hollywood. You know, it's Hollywood kind of script, and they're making everyone better than they probably were. Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I felt that, you know, the characters, if you can call them that, of the Queen band weren't really. I mean, I know it's a film about Freddie, but they just didn't really seem that. You know, like the English accent was bugging me a bit in the film. Like, all right, shall we go get pissed and
that's always the way. Yeah.
It was a bit like, do we
a little bit
like
over
that?
the top. Yeah. Although Freddie Mercury, the guy playing Freddie Mercury, what's his name?
What was his name? Rami Malek.
Rami Malek. His accent, I thought, was really good.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was good. He definitely nailed it.
He nailed it, and the movements, the way he moves, and everything. You know.
Yeah.
And I think the singing. I watched a documentary the other day, actually, just on YouTube, and it said that a lot of it was actually Freddie Mercury, and they mixed it in with someone else who was good at.
Yeah, there was like an impersonator.
Yeah,
like
impersonator.
A Canadian impersonator.
But they said, I think they said that like over 50% of it was Freddie Mercury.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because they said that, you know, no one could do what he did, and that's cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, and also, you know, that despite this inauthenticity, is like, you know, the scene where he sort of tells everybody that he's got AIDS, and a little bit of a spoiler here, but you know,
is it?
Yeah, I read that. Well, I guess everybody knows that, but how he told the band, or, you know, most of the people around him, wasn't like that, you know, like, as far as I've read from different sources in different books.
But it's so difficult, isn't it? Like we were saying.
Yeah, of course, and for dramatization purposes.
Yeah, you've got a band's life, and they're trying to put it into 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and you know, that final scene. I mean, they basically mimicked the Live Aid concert perfectly, I'd say.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean, I enjoyed the film, but that being said, I would I think it was a bit too sanitized, a bit of a obvious.
You wanted a bit more rock and roll.
Yeah, and it was just like a sort of painted by numbers rock biopic, you know.
Yeah, but I would say, after saying all that, I'd say you should go and see it. I think you should check it out. If you, you know,
yeah, definitely. I mean, to the casual Queen fan, I'm sure you're going to love it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
but like, I'd sort of got into the whole thing a bit too much before.
Yeah, well, expectations were high, weren't they?
Yeah, that's it. So, you know, personally, I'd say watch a documentary about Freddie, and then watch Live Aid performance on YouTube, and you'd probably get a more authentic. Well, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's definitely good. There's other bands now coming along, isn't there, who kind of like trying to copy them a bit. It was that band you saw the other day. He was like supposed to be a bit of a Freddie Mercury.
The Struts.
The Struts.
Yeah, they're from Derby, where I'm from originally.
Are they anything
Although
like-
now I think now they're based in LA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's similarities there, but they're not my cup of tea.
They're not.
Personally.
It doesn't sound like a cover band.
No, they don't sound like a cover band, but they sound like a bit of a mashup of. You can hear their influences.
Yeah.
There's some Queen in there, and the guy somewhat resembles Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't remember his name, but yeah, to me they kind of, you know, they're of course they're young.
Yeah.
And for me, they sounded a little bit more like the Darkness or something like that.
Right. So quite bit of comedy aspect to them.
Not so much comedy aspect, but I feel that not, you know, they also sound like a band from 10 years ago. Like that kind of thing has been done, and now it's being done again. What was that other band?
Greta Van Fleet.
Yes,
The
Led
copy.
Zeppelin.
The copy of Led Zeppelin. Yeah. The carbon copy. What do you think of them?
I listened to their album the other day at the airport on your advisement, and
Well, just out of interest more than anything. I wasn't saying they were good, but make your own decision. Come on. Yeah.
yeah, you weren't saying they were good, but they, you know, they were fine, right? But it, you know, he sounds like Robert Plant, but it's a very thin Robert Plant, you know?
Yeah.
And I appreciated that they're a young band and they're bringing that music back to the forefront, but you know,
Yeah, they're about 21. They sound like a wedding band.
they've just released the first album.
Yeah, I'm going to say sound like a wedding band. They sound like the kind of, you know, when you get like
like a tribute band.
the bootleg Beatles or the, you know, AC.
Australian Doors.
Yeah, exactly. They seem like they sound like that, and you know, but they've got their own songs. And
What was that other band? There was that Australian band that sounded exactly like AC/DC. The hell's their name? I've seen them. Airborne.
Airborne.
Yeah, they
No,
were
I've
just
seen
a
'em.
complete
Really?
rip-off of AC/DC and Australian.
You don't get many Australian bands,
Yeah.
but one Australian band we do like. Do you remember King Gizzard?
I do, yes. You've
King
been force-feeding them to me for quite some time now. I do like them.
They've had about 5 albums this year, haven't they? Is it 5 albums?
That's
This
crazy.
is one of their better ones, Polygon Wonderland,
Yeah.
which was actually given away for free as the files, and then you were
do you
allowed
mean?
to press your own records.
What do you mean given away for free as
Well,
the
they
file?
instead of releasing records and CDs through a record label, they said, "Here you go. These are our digital files.
Okay.
Go and make your own records. Go and make your own CDs."
It's a cheap way of doing it.
Well, it's a novel way of doing it. I mean,
That's
they didn't
good.
make
I
any
like
money off it, will they? Doing
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
So,
yeah.
but I think because this was like their 5th or 6th album,
Okay.
so they were entitled to give one away. I mean, you know, they made probably quite a decent amount of money through their
Yeah, didn't you
fans.
say they're like you just said they're like churning out about 5 albums a year? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I follow them on Instagram, and they seem to be like they're touring around America at the moment, and they seem to have a lot of interest.
Yeah.
Like the
yeah.
gigs look sold out. And
Yeah, they are.
full.
Yeah, they're great band,
Yeah.
great new band. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, if you've got bands like King Gizzard, and you've got All Them Witches and the OCs, all of a similar nature.
We saw all them witches a year ago. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I went with you.
Coco, yeah,
Camden.
got their
Camden.
record here as well. Actually,
Yeah.
their new record,
I haven't. Oh, have I heard that?
All Them Witches. Yeah, you have. It's quite Doorsy, this one.
Okay. I read a review of it, but I don't remember hearing it.
Yeah, it's
But
quite bluesy, which
probably
is
drunk or something.
there is some heavier tracks on there, but they've kind of gone a bit more bluesy. This one's All Them Witches actually it is titled All Them Witches as well.
That's
Name-
it.
Their name of the band, name of the album, All Them
Okay.
Witches. It's not their first, but their 5th or 6th album, I think.
Yeah, I like them. I liked them.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, when you compare them to Greta Van Fleet, there's no real comparison, is
That's
there?
a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, so there's new bands out there, or you know, these aren't new bands, but they're coming to the forefront, and
Yeah.
I think these ones should be the ones that people should be listening to. Rather
Yeah, it's
than...
just a novelty, isn't it? Somebody sounds like Led Zeppelin, and people that I don't know, like you know, talking about the Queen film. I think like the casual Queen fan would like that film, as you know, I would be the kind of person that would hear about this Greta Van Fleet, whereas you are more on top of.
Well, I mean, I haven't dug that deep to find those bands. They're the popular bands of the moment. The newer bands that are coming through.
Yeah.
They're still alternative though. It's not pop music. It's alternative rock music. But yeah, I mean, it's more interesting to see these subcultures and different little genres coming through. Another genre, interesting genre, completely different to that, is that Vaporwave,
Yeah.
which has been going since 2010, if not before.
What is it?
Vaporwave.
Yeah. What is it? What's the concept of it?
But it's
Something
consumer.
behind
It's all about consumerism in the 1980s, 1990s, and how it was at the forefront then. So all the imagery, I've got some records here.
Yeah.
All the imagery is of that era. So you got a record like this by Vaporwave. Vaporwave, she's a female producer.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of like got that sort of Miami kind of shot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all supposed to look. It's all supposed to look like consumerism. You know, consumerism in a dystopia world.
Right.
And you got this one. This one's Cat System Corp, which you can see it's got the Windows 98 screen. But these albums, they're not hardly any of their own original material.
Yeah,
they're like old tunes, like Japanese old 80s tunes.
But that's the point of it, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's all about reselling it back to you.
Right.
So like, so it's like a vaporwave.
It's like irony.
Yeah, the irony of it. Yeah, yeah. There's a little thing actually I wrote down earlier, summing it up. Check those out while I read this. Global capitalism is nearly there. At the end of the world, there will only be liquid advertisement and gaseous desire.
Yeah.
Subliminated from our bodies, our untethered senses will endlessly ride escalators through pristine artificial environments. More or less than human, drugged up and drugged down catalysts consuming and consumed by a relentless rich economy of sensory information, valued by the pixel. The virtual plaza welcomes you, and you will welcome it too.
That's a very apt description of where we probably are at right now.
Well, I mean, this is it. I mean, yeah, it's all about selling and reselling things that have already been sold to you a million times. And
yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting genre of music, I think. Another reason it's interesting because it has no location in this world. It's born on the internet.
All right.
So it's yeah, you can't say where it's from. It's from the internet, and I can't think of many genres like that really. I mean, you got your grunge from Seattle,
right?
You've got your Britpop from England, obviously.
It's like a virtual, virtual born music.
It's vapor. It's vaporwave. What is it, Phil?
Stereoscopic.
Stereoscopic.
Yes.
Okay.
So are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording. Yeah.
All right. So I got this book here.
Yeah.
That I really like, and it's Queen in 3D.
Wow.
So back in the day, in the 70s and 80s, Brian May had the foresight to really get into 3D already.
Yeah.
So he used to go around with this stereoscopic camera, which is like, it's got like two little goggles on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So all the pictures that he took backstage and what have you, he was already looking at it, thinking what they were going to look like in 3D. And now he's just released them in this book, which you can do a close-up on in a bit.
So it's quite fitting, isn't it, for him? There's a scientist.
Awesome. Yeah, so you look through this thing, and then you got these 3D pictures of Queen.
Cool.
And also got a signature.
So you put that up against the picture?
Yeah. So like there's two pictures, and basically it just blends it in, makes it into one picture, and then gives it the 3D effect.
Cool.
So like old school 3D. There you go. It's a picture of Roger Taylor on drums.
Yeah, that's quite novel. It's quite novel.
It is. It's like, it's like looking at old pictures of your parents or something. Except my parents weren't in Queen, but yeah.
And it's signed, isn't it?
Yeah, I got his got a little what do you call it?
Queen in 3D. So right, okay, right. London Stereoscopic Company.
Yeah, very happy.
Is it
about
his
that.
company?
No, it's Stereoscopic. It's like a bunch of geeks that like 3D stuff.
Okay, right.
Like myself. Except I'm not a member. Stereoscopic.